Hell yeah, I'm always venting. How you think I keep myself stress-free? You better learn how to do it. See, this is another problem when a black man speaks his voice. Now it's a problem with venting, but then they say black men don't express themselves enough. See, you can't win in society. It's a trick bag. The very thing that you get demonized for doing be the very thing that they say you don't do enough. So you get confused if you allow the world to narrate your reality. So that's why when I smack it spiritually, you getting smacked around. Get out of my face. Bow, you getting spiritually smacked around. I ain't listening to you. You feel me? So for me, my journey, I thought about that. I got a video. I'm talking about that maybe about 5 years ago, 2018. It's a futurist video where I was giving my prediction on things in the future. And I talked about that very concept of we don't allow our geniuses or our leaders to develop through their hero's journey to who they're supposed to be because we kill them along the journey. Right? We do the job of the FBI. We do the job of the CIA now. Right? We do the job of the COINTELPRO because of the ideas and the way that we look at each other is the very ideas, right, that the FBI had that they was pushing when they was sowing seeds of dissent. We do that in our own family. Why the hell you get jealous of what somebody else have when we live in a world of abundance? You jealous of what your brother has. You don't want to let them get too much. Why the fuck is you in competition with somebody you supposed to love? So, I practice spiritual and emotional detachment from this world because ain't nothing about this world fair. Where I'm at in the world, if the world was caught up to men speaking truth and being real, man, I'd be on every TV show in the world. I'll be delivering every speech that there could. But my type of black man still ain't celebrated. It ain't celebrated yet. I just defy the odds. It ain't celebrated. We are creating the celebration. We're celebrating ourselves. We're pushing the door. And some of you all that work in these companies, that work in these places, you can't just watch this shit. Y'all can't just watch this. You got to help this become what it's supposed to be. That's how it works. We got too much of that let me just see what happens mentality. Instead of that, let me make it happen. When you see something going good, add something valuable to that. That's the problem that I see the biggest. Oh boy, I'm watching you. Well, stop watching and get in the game. Yeah, man, Keith, I've been watching for a while, man. Then some people will hit me with I ain't bought none of your products, nothing like that. But I like what you doing. Damn, all right. I support you though. Do you really? So, and I ain't begging or asking. I'm just saying this is a mentality that we have. We don't actually understand how to help each other make things happen. Right? When you see something you like, magnify that. Magnify that. That's my focus. Oh man, I like bruh music. I'm gonna share that. I'm gonna buy that. I wonder if I can. Let me tell somebody about it so that can help enhance that. People working these positions, you supposed to figure out, man, I like what Key's doing. Let me figure out how I can pitch this to my company, get a sponsor, or how to get him to come over here, or how we can spend some money, or how we can add a contribution or some collaboration. Like, yeah, what you think you in that position for? Nah, got a big ass mosquito in here. You in that position to do something with it. So when we in positions to help each other, that's our responsibility. You know what I mean? Like some of you all won't have those jobs forever, right? Some of you all don't have them opportunities forever. Do something with it, man. Do something bold with it. Do something that matters. Stop sitting back and just watching people do things and help them do it. Be a part of it. Stop watching family members start businesses and not help them be a part. You know what? I like what you're doing. I'm going to do the graphic design for this. Or I'm going to do this. Or I'm going to get somebody. Like, add to it. Be contributive. First thing we do is try to compete with it. We see something great. The first thing we want to do is compete. Oh, you started a podcast. I'm going to throw one too. Mine will be better than yours. Man, you could have helped them get some sponsorships over there. You could have helped them do the graphic. You could have helped them do the video. You could have helped bought a camera and actually you get equity in it or something. You could have helped build it. First thing we do is become competition instead of collaborators. But I understand we have to be taught this, that the position you in is to help others. This is how we built this thing out. Like, it ain't going to happen because 19 Keys do it. It's going to happen because the people help me do it. That's the only way it's possible. I can't change the world on my own. I can only change the world with the people in the world. Right? Y'all responding to it. So when we do tours and we go out and we do sold out shows in Toronto back to back, we didn't sell it out. The people sold it out. We get blamed for the magic. That's the people helping themselves. They said, you know what? I decide I want to do something for myself. I see a movement. I want to be a part of it. That's how revolutions change. This shit don't happen in a silo. So we got to stop that old watching each other mentality. We have to stop that. So that's why I'm so appreciative. I'm always appreciative of my position because, you know, the very thing that people say is a weakness in my movement is my strength. Well, who taught you? Who crowned you? Nobody. Except Allah. But guess what? Because nobody was willing to, I had to do it myself, which built up my resilience. Because I know that the world wasn't ready for me, I had to become more creative than everybody else. We had to up the production in a different way. We gotta circumnavigate the feelings that people be having towards men of stature and masculine energy. They got an issue. Key's too radical. I'm not radical. I'm teaching people how to use their mind. Teaching people about technology and the science of self. Damn, that's radical. But that's what they say. So this is why I have to do 10 times the work as most people. 10 times the work. I wear a crown. They don't like a black man wearing a crown like that. Those who do, they hit me up. Keys, I want to book you. What's your price? I'm going to pay your price. Boom, I'm there because I want to help this thing grow. They respect it. Then you do something so good. You know what I'm saying? Then you do something so good that the world got to respect it. Like, hey, listen, I ain't gonna lie, how many followers he got? How many views he got? 26 million? Damn. Hey, get that Muslim brother in with that crown. He must be spitting. Times must have changed. He must have changed the game. Why we ain't putting no budget towards hiring that bro here? He can bring, he sold out what? Oh, okay. Bring them in. So you got to change the game. You can't wait for the game to change. Got to be a game changer. You got to change the game. Don't wait for the game to change. Some of y'all waiting for the game to change. You waiting for the rules to change. You waiting for a new ref. You waiting for a new stadium owner. You know what I'm saying? You waiting for some new uniform. You got to go change the game yourself. Nah, we changing the game. I don't know what you talking about. I'm Steph with the threes. Like, hey, ain't nobody can shoot from back here, so I will. You know what I'm talking about? We changing the game. We breaking these like AI, man. It's different. You know, it ain't easy, but it's necessary. You know, so this fundamentally, like I said, we have been given more wealth because we have more tools that only rich men had in the past. We have been given more time because the tools make us more efficient, right? So wealth, having time is wealth, right? Having access to these tools is wealth. If you don't want to use your wealth, that's on you. But we've been complaining about wealth for a very long time. When you listen, when you a person that's of the have-nots and you was born with a silver spoon, right? Y'all had to use plastic spoons. You understand me? When we complain about a lack of resources and access to things, and all of a sudden a suite of tools come, that's your budget being increased. That's your wealth being increased. That means you have to take advantage of the opportunity and the time in order for you to utilize your wealth. Things that took you 3 hours or 30 days can be done in days and minutes now. How you gonna use your wealth? That's the difference. I just understood what I was inherited by living in this time. So the OGs, I ain't a single OG from whatever era y'all want to talk about. They don't call me. They don't offer me no advice. They don't offer me growth. They don't do that with me. No, and I've been growing up knowing OGs always look at the YGs sideways because they fear replacement. But that's okay. Because guess what? They didn't help me, but the world did, in the sense to where when I got tools that everybody else got, the difference between the fact is I have a mind that everybody else don't have. So you can give us all the same access, but it's the mentality, the mindset of how you're going to use it that makes the difference. And listen, man, my experiences would be a crutch for most people, but I had the mindset of learning how to process information for growth. That's the difference, right? The average person, listen, my mom and dad was not in the same household. So people see me with my parents, but they've been divorced for a long time, right? I just don't use that as a crutch. I done had 5, 6 cases. I done been locked up many times. I done had dozens of homies dead. You know what I'm saying? I go back to certain places. Everybody I grew up with is dead or in jail or living a mundane life in existence. Right? I got families suffering from mental health illnesses. We grew up going into sleeping in the car some days. Mom's don't like when I tell that story. She said it was just a couple weeks. We went to that shelter though. I remember being in that shelter. You know what I'm saying? I remember being on the EBT trying to figure out the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't tell me, man, like, excuses is for the weak. Excuses do not provide strength. It validates weakness. Nah, so anything that, and I grew up in Oakland and St. Louis. These are 2 wild hoods. I wasn't growing up in some suburbia environment to where everything was all good. Like, we had to figure everything out. I remember having, like, I'm that type of child. I used to go, somebody reminded me the other day, I used to go to Washington University in St. Louis when I was younger just to go use the internet, to go study. You understand me? And have access, because we didn't have access to the internet. I remember before the access was just, the internet was everywhere. I forgot all about that. Like, we had to pay to use the internet. But I always understood the power of technology. You understand me? So if you don't learn to use your environment and the time that you in, man, I'm grateful and blessed to have, shout out to Erica Ford, the legend. Shout out to my moms in the building. I'm grateful to be living in this time because I believe my mind was made to take advantage of the opportunities that are in front of us today, right? I literally study all of the great ones, right? I was listening to a Malcolm X speech earlier today in Berkeley, and he was talking about the financial environments that we have to grow up in that changes our output. I was listening to Martin Luther King today. You understand me? Talking about the other side of America, right? And talking about the way people get maladjusted. Martin Luther King, I think, in my humble opinion, was the greatest speaker to ever exist. I think bar none, because the way he was able to put together words was just, it was just different. He was just cold with it. But he was saying, you know, that's a word that psychologists use a lot. But he was saying that there's some things I don't want to get adjusted to. He said, I don't want to get adjusted to racism. I don't want to get adjusted to oppression. I don't want to get adjusted to the systematic issues and the financial degradation of our people. I don't want to get adjusted to those things. And those are never things that I will get adjusted to. And so that was my perspective as a young person. No matter what's going on, I'm never going to get adjusted to this. I'm always going to adjust it. I think a lot of people listen to people of the past, but they don't really be learning for them lessons. Because it sounds like they speaking about today, which means that things haven't changed. The message is supposed to sound outdated. But when the message sounds updated, that means that things haven't changed. So we have to work until the message of our ancestors is outdated. Are we still talking about that? We passed that. Damn, I remember him in his time, it must have been like that. No, that's still the same. So that's my goal. I want what they did and the way they was I want it to be outdated. I want by the time I pass and my children take over with the legacy, they got a completely different set of goals and problems and solutions that they operating from. We not still fighting for financial liberation. It's a different game. But some of y'all are way too adjusted to the reality that we live in, and you don't even know that you're being controlled and manipulated. To be content with this and to find your freedom in everything besides true power. Because some of y'all think you free because you can practice your sexual desires. That ain't got shit to do with freedom. Freedom is power. See, when you can change the definition of freedom, right? Then a people will think that they free, which would be the greatest level of slavery. No, freedom is power. It's ownership. It's control. It's when you walk outside and you own everything as far as you can see, when you got political power and social power, right? Like, we talking about true power to control your environment, to control your education systems, to control your grocery stores. That's power. That's freedom. But we have a confused view of freedom that's connected to our desires and not our needs. So the moment that they get you like that, shit, you ain't even going for real freedom. You ain't even a threat no more. Because you think you already free. Fool, they got you. No, we ain't free until we actually get some power. Like, you can't control what your children learns and sees and move. That ain't no goddamn freedom. So, you know, just put something on your tentacles tonight, man. Understand how powerful this time you living in, and all you need to do is, step up to the plate. And every day is an opportunity to be better than yesterday. Like, you can really grab life, and make a decision, right? And that decision in this moment, that I'm going to realize, number one, how grateful I am to be alive during this time. I'm going to build with those around me and start operating functionally, right? I'm going to understand the formula of unity rather than just the word, because unity is just a word. The process of unity is how you bring it into reality. So a lot of people are always talking about the goal and not the process, so therefore you can't get it. You can be a big girl with the goal of being skinny, and that don't mean nothing until you go through the process, right? You can be a fool with the goal of being smart, but if you don't learn and study, you will never develop it. So we are a people with the goal of unity, but don't understand the process. We have to have an oath towards each other. We have to have the same vision and values in our culture. This is the most important thing. Our culture has to be based on something real. You can't be, like, culture is the foundation. We talk about culture a lot. Culture is the foundation you build on, right? So until our culture is right, until the principles and the values is right within that culture, there's nothing we can do. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't care how much technology comes. I don't care how much money we get. None of that matters until the culture is right. And so when you go look at the culture, we celebrating 50 years of hip hop. Ask us, what does the culture represent? The top 10 words of what hip hop is now. That's not a foundation you can build on, right? So when there was times when the words of liberty, right, and freedom and justice and equality and vision and creativity and insightfulness and all these were the words that were describing culture, righteousness. That's no longer the culture. So, hey, sorry to bust your bubble, man, but until we get our culture right and we reevaluate and reconstruct what our culture is and based on some true values, it's never going to happen. So you can start in the microcosm of your family. The culture got to be right. Got to be a culture of forgiveness, a culture of acceptance, a culture of love, right? A culture of peace and creativity and innovation and ma'atness, right? A culture of freedom, a culture of justice and equity and discernment. Like, these should be the things that describe our culture. And guess what? You can build on top of those. But all that other shit we got going on, you can't build on none of that. Selfishness and greed and hate and murder and death, right? And sex, money, drugs. What you gonna do with that? What you gonna build on top of that? Oh, man, listen, man, they good. I ain't gonna lie, man. They are good. All right, but God is better. Listen, internationally, we doing a tour soon, the highest level tour, because that's what we doing. We're going to take our culture to the highest level, right? And we're going to put back in the principles of the culture through demonstration, all right? We all learning and building together. I'm your imperfect brother that is going through his journey of developing himself, but in front of the people. Right. And so in the midst of that, people say, oh, you say understand me too much. I'm still developing myself. I ain't perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like, I might make many mistakes along this journey, but I'm okay with myself making those mistakes, because when you try a lot of great things, you're going to make a lot of great mistakes. If you try nothing, you will make no mistakes. So the man that makes many is the man that is trying to do something. Right? If I look at my ancestors and the mistakes that they made, that's okay, because they was trying to do something great. So they were supposed to go through that. So I don't look at a person live and magnify the mistakes that they made. No, I'm appreciative that they was trying to do something, because a lot of our lazy ass ancestors was sitting at home doing nothing. And so their mistake was inaction. You feel me? So think about that the next time you judge somebody. Like, that's mean they doing something. Now, when you do it over and over, then that's when it becomes your character. Listen, man, I'm 19 Keys. If you haven't, go get my book, go get a crown, go support. Because, listen, I live in America, so I practice getting money, a.k.a. capitalism as well. That's one thing they don't like about it as well sometimes. Or maybe they love it. Wall Street Trapper, he said his favorite revolutionaries was Malcolm and Fred Hampton, but he said, unfortunately, monetarily, they died broke. But he said, I know that Brother Keys ain't dying broke. That's for sure. Why? And mostly because we live in the greatest time ever to be able to do good and make money. Conscious capitalism is what we call it. So you practice conscious capitalism, right? Then that means that you can do good and make money. Ain't that the best of both worlds? That you can serve the world while serving yourself? Ain't that the best of both worlds? You know what I'm saying? Like, you could be fly and you can do good. Like, listen, man, the reason that I decided to be the flyest human being, on the planet during my generation is because I want to represent that flyness and to make it aspirational. Why you think I had to do that? All praise is due to Allah. Absolutely, moms. You feel me? But that's the reason I make sure I'm the flyest person to exist. Now you ain't got to believe so, but some people's beliefs are in disorder. That's okay. Some people believe in Easter rabbits. So I understand if you don't understand. I get it. But the way we stepping, it's like we celebrating every time we coming. Because when I looked at and I studied the past, all the generals was the flyest. Right? And what we doing is we celebrate just dressing like men. Like I ain't gotta wear Prince ass chaps to talk about I'm free. You know what I'm saying? And talk about, well, everybody can do whatever they want. Yeah. But shit, I already seen women wear women clothes, so that ain't nothing new. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather be the flyest of them all. You feel me? I'd rather do it like that. Yeah, so celebrate the generals, man. Celebrate us being us and building on top of us, not us taking their styles, doing that and saying that this is my new expression of freedom. Nah, it don't work like that because it don't look like power. So I want to look like power, right? I don't want to look like this sold version of it. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to look like that. Nah, is it okay if I practice traditional masculinity, right? And on top of it, the lessons that we learn in today's time to be more compassionate and understanding and empathetic, right? Yeah, we go add the sauce on top of it because our generation did learn a lot from our father's generation and their father's generation. So yes, there was a lot of things to correct, right? But traditional masculinity meaning things typical of a man, right? So unfortunately, that masculinity was based on the culture and the times, not the concept of what it means to really be a man. Right? I never practiced Arabic Islam because that's their culture. If they treat somebody wrong, that's not Islam, that's their culture. Right? So you have to understand the difference between the culture and the society. And so for me, I'm going to practice some traditional masculinity. And I think it look good on me. You feel me? I'm going to put the crown on, man. We got the boy in. You feel me? So when I walk outside and I operate in my confidence and people see me and it's respectful and it's respected and it represents enlightenment and power and establishment, man, that's love. Everywhere I go, man, people be like, yo, where you get that crown? Every time I step on a plane, the pilot always want one. You know what I'm talking about? Because they know I'm the flyest, even though he went to flight school. You know what I'm talking about? So for me, man, it's key. You know what I'm saying? This fly, I need a stewardess walking with me. You know what I'm saying? It's different. So, yeah, man, I'm on my general time, man, and I just want to continue to encourage y'all to, walk in your tradition, right? But then be the flyest of them all. But don't over-focus on, your attire, because now I done told my style. I had this design. I say, just give me the same fit in 20 different colors. I don't want to think about getting dressed because I don't believe y'all with this last nugget. The current way to control the people, this is the new game. The current way to control the people is to get them to overly focus on self-expression. And then I want you to look at society. It's all about self-expression, right? But why would a government push that? They want to have a democratic order, right? If you study these things throughout time, you can understand. And that's up to you to understand, right? So we have to understand that everything around us is programming, right? To overly indulge in self-expression instead of collective consciousness. How can we be unified with the people if your biggest point of order is to be an individual outside of connecting with your people, right? So that's why people's identity is steeped in, trying to constantly show you I'm different. I don't even think you understand yourself, because you really look like everybody else. When a man knows himself, he has nothing to prove. He just bees himself, right? So ladies, fellas, understand that. Like, women, you all have a great power, right, and responsibility, man. And no nation can rise higher than this woman. You feel me? So if you want to look at the state of any nation, just look at the women. There's no way of getting around that formula. That's reality. You feel me? So be careful of the idea of self-expression, right? Because if we can get you to focus on your outer self, how much of your inner self do you focus? Because as long as you focus on outer, we can control your inner. So it don't matter how you express it on the outside. We control what's going on the inside. Listen, man, I'm 19 Keys. The Book of Keys is coming soon.